Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to kind of a random video, but it's funny because I only put this form up a couple of days ago and I've had such a great response. Sorry, the form that I'm talking about it's linked in my link tree down below, and I created a book recommendation form to kind of consolidate the recommendations that I get, because as anyone who is a book recommender knows, we get swarmed with book recs and I love that. Okay, some of the best books that I've read have come from you guys popping off in my comments and telling me to read this if I like this or something like that. But the bigger your channel gets, and okay, I feel weird saying that about myself, but you know what I mean. The bigger that my channel gets, the more of those that there are, and the more people that, you know, they don't know if you've been read the book or not before, and you just can't help that. You know, you just can't help that. And that's not anyone's fault. I don't expect everyone to know every book I've read. I've read over like 800 just in the last 2 years. So that is not your job to have to know that. But what I did, and I mentioned this in my weekly wrap-up that came out on Monday, is that I made this form so that I could, when I finish reading one book, and either I don't want to start one that's on my official TBR, or I don't know what I want to read next, I can use a random number generator, because what happens is when you do the book form, you can turn it into a Google Sheets, and then, you know, it lists them all with a number of the sheet, and I do a random number generator and it points me towards a book. Now, in the same way that like a spinner wheel is something that I use to help me make a decision, it doesn't mean that I will like pick that one, but it gives me a gut reaction of like, ooh, I want to read this, or ooh, I don't. And I'm loving it so far, and that's why I'm making this video, even though I only put that one up a few days ago, because what I've decided I'll want to do is that even though I'll review these books in my weekly wrap up, I want to let you guys know who recommended them that I'm really enjoying them all, right? Or not, because yes, there was a DNF mixed in with these as well. But I plan maybe to, in the future, like every 10 I'll do a video, or every, you know, who knows, maybe it'll end up being like every 20 I do it, because I read so many of them. Because right now it's like really exciting and fun, you know, and I'm doing them all the time, and I know some of them that are in the list and I'm really excited to get to them. But yeah, I'm really liking it. So one of the things in the form is that people can remain anonymous, because what came up on a live show of mine is, for some reason, some people are intimidated by me, and I'm not judging if you are, because I feel the same way about creators who are bigger than me. Or you can tell me who it is if you want a shout out for it, and I'll tag you when I'm reading it. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. I already have gotten over 200 recommendations, 160 of which were viable options. So I did want to mention what viable options are, so that you can be better prepared if you do plan to recommend a book, to let you know. So by viable options, I mean it's one I haven't already read, which again, it's not up to you guys to know if I didn't or not. Please give me the recommendation. I've seen some recommended that I've already read that I've liked, and I'm like, that person knows my taste, and that's great. Other viable options, the books need to already be out. There was someone, and again, this was anonymous, I don't know who did, who recommended like all the romances for the rest of the year that aren't out yet. And that really doesn't work, because if I do the random number generator and your book gets picked and it doesn't come out until December, I can't read it. So please don't recommend any books that aren't out yet, because if I see those, I just delete it, because the list that's in there needs to be all books that I can immediately pick it up, whether it's ebook or I own the book or audio, however, because otherwise that defeats the purpose of keeping me reading books, okay? So yes, if you were the person who did that, I mean, I appreciate you recommending so many books to me, that was so kind, but they got deleted. Also, each entry needs to be one book. Like, please don't say read the Stay a Spell series by Julia Cross. No, number one, I've read these books, so I wouldn't do that. Recommend the first book in a series, or the book in the series you want me to read, because I did have someone like in a historical series, they recommended the 5th book, and I'm like, well, they must want me to read that one. But if you're wanting me to read a series, like, recommend the first book, because that's how I look it up and that's how I find it, okay? Let's see, what was the other trouble that I was running into? Oh, also when I ask for the tropes, please don't give me the whole description of the book. Like, I want to be mostly blind on these because I don't want to overthink it. So when I ask for it, I ask for the book and the author and then the tropes. Just give me a couple of tropes. You don't got to convince me. You don't got to write a paragraph. Some people were copy and pasting the entire like blurb about the book. Like, I'm gonna look that up. You don't gotta put it in there. It's okay. And I'm not mad about any of this, by the way. Don't take this as a criticism. This form just went up. This is just the immediate feedback that I have from me if you are recommending a book, so that it's good. Also, you don't have to recommend it more than once because that won't increase its, you know, chance. What I have been doing is I did have one book in particular that was recommended by 3 different people. By one of these people is recommended twice, but by 3 different people. So what I do is that I delete the extra entries, and within my spreadsheet, I put the names of everyone who recommended it. Or let's say it was 3 anonymous people. I'll be like, this was recommended 3 times. So yeah, I think that's kind of everything. And again, don't take this as criticism. You guys are doing me a favor by recommending books to me. Like, even though you want me to read them so you can hear my opinions on them, and that's like me doing something for you, you're still recommending books, and sometimes they're freaking amazing. Like, I can't wait to talk about some of these with y'all, okay? I'm very excited about it. So it isn't a bother, it isn't any of those things, but the ones that don't follow this criteria, like, I don't even really look at it. Like, I delete them because there is 160 plus books currently for my random number generator. So that means, like, if your entry doesn't fit into those things, then we just scoot along and nobody knows. And if I never ever read the book, that could be why. Also, there's a lot, and I'm sure this will be an ever-growing list as I mention the form more and more. You know, the pool just gets bigger and bigger. But anyway, there may be different ways that I do it at one point too. Like, maybe one time I'll like, I'm gonna read the first 5 that were put in here, you know, if I haven't read those yet. Or I'm gonna read 3 even number ones. Like, there's so many fun games that I can play with this form, and I'm so happy for all of you who put one in. Like, it honestly is one of my more brilliant ideas that I've ever had, and I'm very excited about it, okay? So the point of this video, after I rambled for 8 minutes, I'm gonna go over the first 6 books that I've done, and I just started doing this last Thursday. So that's really awesome, which for you, that doesn't mean anything. It's been only about 6 days, and I went through 6 of these, and I'm just about to pull a couple more of them too, so I thought I would just go through them. So the first one I actually did, I don't have the name of who recommended it because since I was already reading the book when the form came in, I just deleted that one. And then I was like, damn it, because I hadn't decided to do the Instagram story yet, which I'll show you when I get to one that I did it for. Because what I will do on the Instagram story is I'll put who recommended it, if they left their name, which number it was in the random number generator, and then what the tropes are. And I'll put it up there. And I am going to keep a highlight story in my Instagram story so you guys can go through and see which books got picked and stuff if you want to know. So the first one that was recommended, which again, I was already reading it, was Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I'd been seeing this one around so much, and I ended up that I did a buddy read with Tori from Novel Life, Sam from Sam Reads a Little, and Jess from Peace Love Books. We did a buddy read of this over the last weekend, and oh my god, I love it so much. I gave this one 5 stars. It was bonkers. It had crazy stuff going on. This is magical, paranormal. The hero is a demon who can be summoned, and he has been being used as basically a blunt instrument for this group of, I don't know if they're witches or warlocks or what they were. And he's sick of it. And the way they're able to control him is because they have a grimoire, and this grimoire has his true name in it. And so they're able to summon him. And then our heroine is a YouTuber who has like a haunted house, like spiritualist channel. And she has moved back to like a town of her past. And she ends up getting her hands on this grimoire, not realizing that it's real or that it has the power that it does. And she decides to do a fake summoning for her YouTube channel. And she ends up summoning this demon, who she has actually already met through like a different situation. So she thinks he's fucking with her and just can't believe, that she had the gall to summon him, and she can't believe that it was real. So it's this crazy thing. This book at the beginning has a ton of trigger warnings. Like there are so many. I'm not even going to try to list them all. Look them up for this book because there's a lot. And it was part of the reason I was scared to read it, because I don't have like triggers, but a lot of the time when there's so many trigger warnings, it's really intimidating to me, and I'm kind of like, ooh, maybe this won't be great. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to do the buddy read with my friends. But the hero, he's so snarky, and the whole book really gave me like Buffy vibes. That kind of like, there's really serious stuff happening, but we have a lot of humor about it. The sex was off the fucking charts, and yes, it was kinky. There was kinky things going on, but they were so sexy. And this book has something that I really love, and that's when you earn a pet name. And I'm not talking about honorifics even, like I'm not even talking about that. I just mean the hero at one point starts calling the heroine a pet name, and it was earned. Like he didn't just meet her and start calling her something. That irritates me so much, because to me that type of pet name just makes me curl up and feel all cozy when it's like earned by the hero. Like he's done the work. So I absolutely love this recommendation. Again, I don't know who recommended it because I wasn't doing things with a plan yet. I apologize. You know how I like my plans, and I wasn't following a plan yet, so I'm disappointed in myself. Then I read Ruthless Night, and so now I'll show you what the card looks like. So I don't have this stuff memorized, but this one was recommended, and I bought the audiobook for this one, and I listened to it on my trip to my friend's house this past weekend, and I really enjoyed this one. This is the second book in the whatever this series is called. I don't know. And it's a high school bully romance, and then fake dating, and there was also a plus-size heroine who there's a trigger warning for addictive substances and substance abuse, that drug being Adderall. So that's what I want to say there. I really admired the author for the issues that she took on. Some of them were a bit too heavy for me, and also this book was extremely long. This was over 600 pages. It was a 15-hour audiobook, which usually a new adult book like isn't that large. And it was intense, man. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. But I did like it. I just felt like it was trying to tell too many stories at once. I do want to read more in this series. I did pick up like Wicked Princess. I don't know when I'll read it, but I am intrigued enough to do it. So I give this one 4 stars, and I didn't hate it. Then I read Broken by J.L. Drake. Sorry, I didn't write her name down on this one. And this was very different from what I normally read. This was kind of a military romance, but it starts with our heroine. She's 28 years old. She had been kidnapped and was being held prisoner in Mexico for quite a few months. And she gets rescued by this team of special forces peeps, soldiers, who they make it their business to, like, they rescue people who kidnap victims or people who are in tough areas. And she had actually been kidnapped because she is the daughter of the mayor of New York, and he was being blackmailed, and she gets rescued. And so they offer her a kind of witness protection with them, because if they let her go to go back home, she will be recaptured and taken back into this life. And so while she is staying with them, she has a lot of trauma about what she's been through, but she falls for the colonel, who, his name, I totally forgot what his name was, but he's the leader of the group. And this is actually like kind of a like hereditary group because it was founded by his great-grandfather, and both his dad and himself have been the leaders of it at different times. And they have this super secret compound that's in Montana, and so it's a forced proximity. And I really enjoyed this. It was pretty slow going, and this was the first in a trilogy, and I don't know that this series needs to be a trilogy. I have read the second one as well, and I gave both of them 4 stars. Then I tried to read Stay With Me by Nicole Fiorini, and this was my first DNF of this experiment. And I kind of had a feeling it would be, and I really tried. I read 35%, I read 126 pages of this, but there's 2 reasons why I think it didn't work. And I'm not ready to completely give up on this. Like, I felt so bad because Mary from More to Mary saw that I DNF'd this, and she was sad. And I feel bad, but I'm just not into this kind of angsty, it's not really dark academia, but like mental health issues. I did like that the heroine was the psychopath. I haven't seen that. It's trauma-based though. And she's taken to this elite like college boarding school kind of thing instead of prison because she gets in trouble. It's the last straw. And I thought it was interesting. Like I thought it was interesting, but the hero, he's a real squishy boy. He's a sweetie. I don't fully understand why he's there. I'm sure I would have learned that. I'm sure I would have. But I just didn't like the heroine at all. And I know she's not supposed to be completely likable, but I get ticked off quicker at a heroine than I do at a hero. And I just was not vibing with it. This just, I don't know if it's because I read too many like new adult school-ish stuff, like college and high school stuff lately, but honestly I don't know. Like, this was never a series that I was really excited to read when I heard other people talk about it, but in a way, like, I'm glad I tried to read it. I gave it a good old college try. I did, and I may someday, but I don't know. The thing is that it's a trilogy for me. I know that there's cliffhangers for the first 2. I know that there's going to be lots of drama and ups and downs in the relationships and back and forth and all that, and I just don't have the mental capacity for that level of angst right now. I just don't. So sadly, that was my first DNF. And then the last one that I want to talk about, which I just finished before I filmed this, is Feral Sins by Suzanne Wright. This is a shifter paranormal romance. It is a enemies to lovers, kind of a fake dating, which was fascinating because they're like fake mating in this book. Like, she is a latent wolf shifter, so she's very powerful. She's a healer, but she can't shift into her wolf form. So she's lived with a lot of scorn. She's been mistreated, and now her father wants to use her for an alliance. So he's trying to force her to marry this complete asshole who just wants to take her, break her, shake her kind of thing. And this opposing alpha named Trey decides to make her an offer and asks if she will pretend to be his mate. And it wouldn't even be fully pretend. There's lots of different levels of being mates in this society, in this world, and I don't fully understand all of them, so there's that. But he asked her to pretend, and so they would actually be together, and they would be together until he could secure the alliances they need. He asked her for like 90 days, I think, or something. In that time, they would still be together and have sex and hope that their wolves wouldn't become so attached that they don't let them break up, basically, is the thing. I had a wonderful time with this. I love that it was high heat from the beginning. There are quite a few, I feel like, paranormal series that sometimes they're slow into the sexy times, and I like that they were right on it right now. But I also like that there was sex as in the sex act soon, but there was a lot of emotional growth there to happen. So each time there is a sex scene, they are growing closer and becoming something new. And I think that is so amazing. That's something I love to see. If you're gonna give me heat from the beginning, there needs to be a long game type of situation, right? So yeah, I gave that one 5 stars, by the way. I really liked it. So anyway, thank you for joining me for this kind of chatty video that's going on. I just wanted to kind of show you the results of what was happening with the book form so that you understood. Definitely give me more recs if you'd like to. Just know, you know, it's not 100% that it gets read. It's a way for me to track all the recommendations you guys give me the best that I can. And I'm very excited to see what books I end up reading because of this. And I'm just so thankful for you guys that you follow the weird whims of this random booktuber from North Dakota. It makes me feel so blessed. It really does. So thank you so much for watching. You can check out that book form down below if you want. I also have links to my merch and my other social medias. I would appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much to my channel members. You mean so much to me, and y'all have a great day. Bye.